Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. Welcome back, glad to be back from vacation. We're going to be looking at another League of Legends game here, and in particular we're going to be looking at some Ziggs gameplay, as played by HilariousLi in one of our YouTube custom night games. So in this game we're going to have HilariousLi playing as Ziggs. I'm also going to be on this team supporting as Janna. Alongside me is FPS Incursus playing as Ashe. Igo who's playing as Udyr, and if you haven't seen it before, you'll get a chance to see the new Spirit Guard Udyr skin in this game. And finally, Mark Owens, who's going to be playing and jungling as Lee Sin. Then on the other team, we're going to have Fallen Asylum playing as LeBlanc, so we'll get a chance to see LeBlanc since she has also been reworked in the most recent patch. Also, High Legend playing as Vayne, K-Hop playing as and supporting as Blitzcrank, I am Houdini playing as Kennen, and Hello Tim jungling as Hecarim in this particular version. So, I don't get to see Ziggs very often as a champion, but this was an example of a strong Ziggs game. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that as we go through. I'll just set up the little character portraits down here. I can do this correctly. There we go on one side, and let's see, Kennen on top, and there we go. Okay. This was a game where we had a number of players that were maybe more experienced, were higher skill level than some of the other YouTube custom games, and it turned into a pretty good game, a pretty well contested, pretty interesting game on all sides. Now, I'm not sure why Fallen started with the Doran's Blade here on LeBlanc for last hitting for harass in lane, I suppose. That's very interesting though. I wonder if that was a mistake or something. I know that you see that sometimes on AP mids, for example, the Kennen top with the Doran's Blade is not all that unusual. You see that a lot, but I'm a little surprised to see that on LeBlanc. Anyway, there is the new Spirit Guard Udyr. Elmo is going to be playing as that. He's, if you want to see it in the brush there, he's scaled Phoenix Stance at level 1 and running around there. I had disconnected and reconnected because I didn't get any sound on the loading screen for whatever reason. Ziggs though, let's talk a little bit about Ziggs. As I mentioned, you don't see Ziggs played all that often. Why don't you see Ziggs too commonly? Well, one of the drawbacks to Ziggs is his skills are all skill shots. He doesn't have any point and click damage. All of his skills are skill shots. His Q, which is his main source of damage, is a skill shot, as well as his W, his E, his ult. So that is one of the things that's a drawback. He also doesn't offer very much in the way of crowd control. He has sort of a very small amount of crowd control on his satchel charge, which was buffed in the most recent patch, in the 3.9 patch, by the way. But it's not much in the way of crowd control. So for those are the two reasons why you generally don't see him that much. The fact that he's skill shot based, so people can dodge his harass, and the fact that he doesn't offer a whole lot of crowd control. Now, what are some of the advantages that Ziggs does bring? Well, for one thing, his damage output is higher than a lot of the other champs. He has very good harass. He has excellent wave clear. He's one of the better farming champs. And I see quite a trade going on here between Fallen and HilariousLi. And wow, it looks like HilariousLi is actually going to get the immediate first blood there off of that. Let's go back and watch this fight again, shall we? We'll see if we can slow this down. Okay, so I'll run this at half speed so we can see what happens. Okay, so auto attacks getting traded on both sides. Both of them are auto attacking away. There comes the sigil from Fallen, but he has no way to trigger that Sigil of Silence because he's still only level 1. HilariousLi is going to toss out another bomb and ignite, and he gets the kill and picks up level 2 off of that. Yeah, I would say the biggest issue there was simply the fact that Fallen Asylum was not level 2, so he had no way to trigger LeBlanc's Q, LeBlanc's Sigil of Silence. No way to trigger that and deal the bonus damage that goes along with that. So, very close fight, but it goes in favor of HilariousLi. Their Hecarim was also disconnected, and we were thinking about remaking this game, but their Hecarim managed to get back in time, so that we didn't have to do that. But of course he is behind. And HilariousLi is going to get a nice advantage off of that particular level 1 First Blood. Picked up the Chalice here, which is a very smart item, largely because not only does it give the Ziggs the mana regen that he needs. Ziggs tends to run out of mana very quickly. He's very blue buff dependent. But the magic resist is also very, very useful against LeBlanc. Anyway, let's go through and look at the skill set for Ziggs, shall we? Now that we've gotten that sort of initial level 1 action out of the way. Doran's Blade, LeBlanc, OP. Yeah, the Doran's Blade did give Fallen a... I can see why Fallen went for that level 1 all-in, because he had the Doran's Blade. which of course is really good in terms of giving you starting stats. Alright, passive for Ziggs, short fuse every 12 seconds. Ziggs' next basic attack deals bonus magic damage, and it does deal additional damage to structures, so towers. Ziggs' abilities reduce this cooldown when he uses them. This skill does have an AP ratio as well, so like Orianna, Ziggs is a champion who has AP ratios on 5 skills, on his passive as well as on his 4 skills. So if you keep that in mind, Ziggs actually does scale pretty well with building ability power, and he actually has some of the highest like pure damage output in the late game to make up for the fact that he doesn't have that much utility in forms of crowd control. Okay, his bread and butter skill, his Q, his bouncing bomb. Ziggs throws out a bouncing bomb that deals magic damage, and the AP ratio, let's see, 25 off of 38. Hold on, I can check that right now. That is a 0.65 AP ratio, so not tremendous, but not bad. Pretty standard for what you'd see. This is a straight line skill shot, although it's a little bit unusual in that the bombs will bounce, and depending on how far away you throw them, it affects how far they bounce. If you throw them far away, the arc is sort of higher. The bomb will sort of go further. If you throw it like right next to you, the bounce doesn't really go anywhere. So it's an unusual skill shot. You can throw it over minions if you do it correctly. So it's one of the more unique skills in this game. One of the more unique skill shots, along with like the crescent sweep thing that Diana has. That said, it's on a low cooldown. You can see it's only on a 5-second cooldown. It does have a moderate mana cost, not too bad. But it's great for harass. It's just the downside is it is a skill shot, so it is very dodgeable. You got to keep that in mind. Like, there it is, but great wave clear, good damage, low cooldown. This is his main skill. Next skill, his W, his satchel charge. This is your 1-point skill as Ziggs. I'll lock the camera while I highlight this. Ziggs flings out an explosive charge, detonates after 4 seconds, or when activated again, and the most recent patch has allowed you to activate this while the skill's in midair to activate it immediately. It doesn't deal that much in the way of damage. You're not using this for damage. This is a utility skill. Whoever gets hit by it is knocked away. You can knock enemies away. You can knock enemies towards you. Ziggs also gets knocked away, but of course he doesn't take damage from the satchel charge. So this is your escape. You can use this to dodge away from enemy ganks. You can use this to knock people back. It will interrupt channeled things. For instance, it will interrupt a teleport. It will interrupt a Shen Stand United or a Karthus Requiem Ultimate. So you can use it for that. It's a little tricky to use, not the easiest skill to use in the world, because which direction people get knocked depends on where you place the satchel charge. But as I said, this is his only form of crowd control. Note that it is on a very long cooldown, 25 seconds. I believe that goes down with more points in the skill, but it is a very long cooldown on the skill, and it's a bit tricky to use. But it's, you know, an intelligent use of this does allow you to, for instance, you can jump over some small walls. Like, you can jump this wall here. I don't think you can jump this wall. I don't think it goes far enough. But you can jump this wall, for example. So you can use it to go over some terrain obstacles, not all. And we'll see if HilariousLi is able to get off some good uses of the satchel charge in this game. I was down in bottom lane, so I'm not sure if he did or not. Alright, other stuff. Let's go ahead and lock the camera again while we're on here. E, Hexplosive Minefield. There it is. That's the Hexplosive Minefield right there that just went down on the map. Ziggs scatters proximity mines that detonate on enemy contact. They deal magic damage. Enemies hit are also slowed. And the amount of damage you take from additional mines is capped. So this is another wave clearing tool. You can use it to throw down and clear minion waves, as we watch Elmo running around in the jungle doing what Udyrs will do. Fallen's chasing at this. Let's just see if he manages to get this kill. The chain's going to hit, and will he be able to break it? No, so that should be a kill, and it is indeed picked up by Fallen. Doing what a LeBlanc player should do, roam around the map and try to pick up some kills. Anyway, so as I said, this is a good wave clearing tool. This, combined with your Q, his Bouncing Bomb, and his Hexplosive Minefield, are both really good at clearing minion waves together. It's also a great zoning tool. You can zone people away by tossing down the minefield on the ground, and then that forces people not to walk in the minefield if they don't want to take damage. So a bit of an unusual skill there it is. You can make the golem walk over additional bombs on the minefield. One way you can clear the blue buff. And anyway, HilariousLi is going to grab that. So he's grabbed blue, and that'll cover another one of his skills. So let's go ahead and look at the ultimate then, shall we? Mega Inferno Bomb. Ziggs deploys his ultimate creation, hurls it an enormous distance. Enemies in the primary blast zone take 250 plus 37 damage. And the AP ratio is very good on this, 37 out of 41. That is like, what is that? It's like 0.9. Enemies further away take 80% damage. Again, this is a skill shot. It has huge range. There's sort of 2 zones for the ultimate. Unfortunately, I can't show that here in spectator mode. It doesn't show that, but the range is really high. You can toss this a very long distance. It's, let's see, from right here, Ziggs can probably reach about the Dragon Pit with it. So it's not a global, it's like a mini global in the same way that a Nocturne ult is like a mini global. But nonetheless, great range, good damage, very, very high AP ratio. Yeah, what is it? Wait, he's got 43 AP and 39. Yeah, so I believe that's 0.9 AP ratio. Very, very good scaling on this ability. Now, the downsides, you only take 80% of the damage if you're not dead in the center, and most of the time you won't be hitting people dead in the center. The other disadvantage, it is a skill shot. It is something that you have to hit, and in fact, it actually can be tough to land this because there's a delay between when you toss it out and between when it actually lands. There's the satchel charge knocking Fallen Asylum back, and HilariousLi is going to make a nice escape there. Did not have to burn his flash. Anyway, those are the skills. If you want to know how to skill Ziggs in terms of his skills, the proper skilling order for Ziggs is max Q first, max E second, 1 point in W, and of course you skill the ultimate when it's available. So pretty standard there. Now, a little bit in terms of building Ziggs. In this particular game, HilariousLi went for the early Chalice, and he also got an early Negatron Cloak, and that was a very smart way to build in this particular game. That's because he's up against a LeBlanc, and the main thing you want to do against LeBlanc is you just want to try to survive the laning phase as much as possible. LeBlanc is not very good late game. She's always been much better in the early game. LeBlanc's going to try to run around the map and get kills. You see right there, a nice pickup there. K-Hop grabs me, the support Janna. Fallen roams down and is able to pick up a kill. So Fallen already has 2 kills. He's 2-1 on the game right now. HilariousLi is doing the proper thing, which is when LeBlanc leaves lane, you punish her by pushing up and taking her tower. You know, LeBlanc's going to roam, that's what she does. Well, you're not going to be able, you don't have the same mobility on other champions. So what you should do is you should punish her for that roam by taking her tower and denying minions in lane. Excuse me. So Fallen's back here, but he's not going to get back in time to save this tower. So that was well done by HilariousLi. And right there, he's going to hit on a Q. Tosses out, flashes there, and there goes the Mega Bomb. And he's going to miss that because Fallen distorts over the wall. But this Fallen blinked back with distortion, and that may have been a mistake. He's going to get the chain to root HilariousLi temporarily. And HilariousLi is getting very low. And looks like Fallen's going to win that particular duel with the help of Hello Tim. The please from Fallen Asylum. Yeah, it was a nice idea by HilariousLi. You saw he flashed forward. He flashed forward and he tossed out the Hexplosive Minefield here. And then he tossed the ultimate on top of that. But LeBlanc has very good mobility with her distortion, her W. And Fallen just blinked over the wall and was able to escape all of that. I would say that LeBlanc is not a good matchup for Ziggs, largely because of LeBlanc's mobility and the fact that she dodges skill shots so easily, because all of the damage from Ziggs is skill shot based. And in fact, what is it? 1-1 overall right now. It's the Fallen's 3-1 in lane. I go Elmo, not Elmo. HilariousLi's 1-1 in lane. It looks like top lane's going to manage to escape from this particular situation. If we check the gold total right now, it's pretty much dead even in lane right now. But that's kind of a win for Ziggs because LeBlanc doesn't scale that well into late game. So generally pretty happy with if you're Ziggs and you're going even with LeBlanc through the first 10 minutes or so of the game, that's a pretty good sign. And if you've only died once, that's a good sign too. It looks like HilariousLi is going for the Unholy Grail, which again feels like a pretty good choice for this particular matchup. Anyway, in the larger game, if you want to look at what's going on, let's take a minute since there's not anything going on in mid right now. If we look at the sort of the larger picture of the game, it is quite close. It's like a 500 gold lead for the red team right now, but that means it's quite close. In top lane, we are ahead by a little bit in top lane. I go Elmo's Udyr is a little bit ahead if you check out the gold total. It's basically even in the jungle. Hecarim's a little behind because Hello Tim was disconnected at the start of the game. You saw that it was basically even in mid, and in bottom lane, their team is pretty far ahead. Note that Vayne is 40 minion kills up, and Vayne also has the kill. And if you check the gold total, you can see Vayne's about 1,000 gold ahead, so that's the biggest difference in this game. And that was just due to their team doing a really nice job with Blitzcrank grabs. Watch this. K-Hop gonna grab me over the wall. There's the exhaust and the auto attack, and I just did not think he was there. So that's a nice play by K-Hop Blitzcrank. And they had gotten some nice pulls early on with Blitzcrank, and they were just got it snowballed ahead, and at that point there wasn't much we could do. So we were just trying to farm and try to survive, but frankly it wasn't going too well. And from my perspective, we were going to need to get help elsewhere on the map if we were going to survive this. Alright, well, HilariousLi, as mentioned, has itemized a lot of MR. Note that he has 95 MR, and what that means is he doesn't die to that combo there from Fallen Asylum. Note how he goes low, but doesn't die. Without all that extra MR, Fallen would have killed him right there, because that's what LeBlanc does. She's kind of a one-trick pony. She blows people up and kills them. So, HilariousLi takes a lot of damage, goes down to, 25%, but doesn't get killed right there. We're going to use the ultimate, the Mega... what is it? The Mega Inferno Bomb to take blue buff. That's pretty funny. Fallen's ult is off cooldown though, so HilariousLi's gonna have to be careful here because Fallen could probably burst him down to 0. Anyway, there's the sigil, but not gonna be triggered by Fallen Asylum. I guess while we're here, I'll mention LeBlanc here as well, since she got reworked in this last patch. There's a satchel charge to escape. LeBlanc, the biggest difference now for LeBlanc is her Q, instead of dealing more damage up front, her Q deals more damage when the mark on the Q gets triggered. So you now have to trigger that mark in order to deal the full damage from your Q. Whereas before, most of the damage was up front, now LeBlanc has to trigger the mark that goes on with the Q. There is a nice dodge with the satchel charge again. So in order to play LeBlanc, you need to toss out that Q, get the initial damage, then trigger the mark, likely with her W, with her distortion. So toss out the Q, blink in with distortion, that triggers the mark on the sigil. That's how you get most of your damage. So LeBlanc was buffed though because, what was it? Her ult, they changed her ult so that her ult doesn't cost any mana at lower ranks. And the distortion, they lowered the mana, I think they lowered the mana cost on distortion as well. I could be wrong, they lowered the mana cost on one of these skills. Maybe it was her Q. Anyway, though, so overall, LeBlanc's probably a little bit stronger. That said, she still does not scale particularly well in the late game. So, against LeBlanc, as always with those early game champs, you want to farm, you just want to survive the lane, and be in a position where you're going to be more useful later on. If you're someone like Ziggs, you're going to be a lot more useful later on. Ziggs with blue buff is great at poking, and, he's going to have that ultimate that, if you can land it, remember, it's a skill shot, but with that scaling, with that 90% AP ratio, the scaling on this is really good. So if Ziggs can get up to like 600 AP or whatever, it's going to deal crazy damage. Anyway, down here, Fallen is roaming again. I'm going to use Janna ult to try and shove them away, and Kaop is going to flash grab and actually pick up a kill on poor Incursus right there. So they were really pushing us around here in this bottom lane. They're having a lot of success down in the bottom lane, and HilariousLi has come down to help out, but their team's ahead by a little over 2k gold, and that advantage is coming from the bottom lane. Now, fortunately, HilariousLi has blue, and that means he can poke. That's what Ziggs is really good at doing. In part, another reason why you don't see Ziggs in professional play is there have been other champs that are better at poking. For example, people would play Kha'Zix before he was nerfed. They played Jace, and there's not really a reason to play those champs. Play Ziggs if you could play one of those champs that do something similar but are better. I'm going to use a tornado for the disengage. I get rooted there by Fallen, but in comes a great Ash arrow. In comes the bomb onto LeBlanc, and then another kill there. HilariousLi roaming back down. So their team got a little bit greedy. Should they really be fighting here? Probably not. So it's a nice job, and HilariousLi gets a double kill, and now he's off to the races with 3 kills now on the game. That really helped us a lot. If you saw, we were over 2,000 gold behind. This Hecarim runs around between towers right here. We're over 2,000 gold behind, and it looks like we're about to be 2,000 gold behind again as High Legend, who is very fed on Vayne, picks up a really slick double kill again in bottom lane. So not great for blue team, let's just put it that way. In terms of itemizing right now, well, actually we should keep an eye on this fight right here. Again, their team's sticking around maybe a little bit too long. They're trying to go after Mark, but he's going to jump over that wall. A nice flash from Mark Owens. He's going to be able to escape. And HilariousLi's been pulled down on the roam once again to the bottom lane. Has had to really cover this bottom lane to make up for the fact that bot's losing so hard. But anyway, going to come down here, and you see the damage right there. We got a little duel here. Out comes the Mega Explosive Inferno, whatever the ult is called, and HilariousLi's going to get that kill against High Legend. So some really, really nice play right there. Let's go back and look at that fight, shall we? We'll just go back and watch this in slower motion because a nice example of a duel between two different champs. Hecarim gets out of here because Hecarim's very low, so keep an eye on this fight between the two, and watch how this one goes down. Alright, so we slow it down here. Here comes HilariousLi. Let's watch who does. High Legends pushing the tower. So, tosses out the bomb, QE combo right away onto Vayne. Tosses out an auto attack, ignites, there goes the ultimate. The satchel charge knocks Vayne away, so that interrupts an auto attack or two. Now, continuing to auto attack and flashes away, and has just enough damage to get out of there before Vayne finishes that one off. Very close match there, very close. K-Op's going to try to come in, but I do not believe he will be able to get HilariousLi. So, some really, really nice Ziggs plays coming out. That's given HilariousLi quite a bit of gold. He ended High Legends killing spree, although it looks a little weird here because we rewound, and that causes the interface to get a little bit wacky, but has now managed to starting to build some ability power as well. Picked up the Unholy Grail, as mentioned before. The AP's nice, but this is really probably more about the magic resist, the mana regen, and the cooldown reduction. But now is finally starting to go for ability power. Out comes a needlessly large rod, and presumably this will be either a death cap or could also conceivably be a Zanya's Hourglass. But now up to 209 ability power, and the damage on that ultimate is starting to go up noticeably. Plus 188. That is a big, big amount of bonus AP. And you can see the bouncing bombs are up to about, what, 380 roughly damage? Granted, it will do less. Who is giving all those back pings? It's really annoying. Granted, it won't do all that much. It won't do quite that much due to magic resist, but let's see, where's the magic pen? It actually has pretty good magic pen from Runes and Masteries, as you would expect. And there's a nice little utility use of the satchel charge. Note that satchel charge jumps over the wall and cuts down a couple seconds on going for the blue buff. So we're going to pick this up. Cooldown reduction is 21%, just right, because with the blue, that will then max it out at 40%. So there we go. With blue buff, blue is 20% cooldown reduction, maxes out cooldown reduction at 40%. And so that will allow for lots and lots and lots of little bombs getting tossed out over and over again. Also note that HilariousLi is roughly, well, right around the leaders in the game in minion kills. Has done a really good job of wave clearing. Not at 10 per minute, but, you know, that's fine. Has done a nice job of shoving this lane. Looks like he's going to shove out this lane. Look how fast the minions die. Again, Ziggs is great wave clear. And now it's going to start pushing this tower. Again, Fallen's roaming. That's what LeBlanc does. That's fine. Is roaming around the map. But you want to punish LeBlanc when she does that, basically. LeBlanc has left her lane, so is going back here, and manages to pick up a kill on Hecarim in the process, as Hecarim comes out, tries to fight that, but gets hit with the Ziggs ultimate. Meanwhile, the action is still back here. Their team's trying to push this tower, but, you know, they're losing their mid tower, so even if we trade here, it's not that bad. And I'm extending the life of this tower by Janna shielding it. One of the nice things that Janna can do. Can shield towers. Fallen's still hanging around over here. We were trying to keep an eye on him. But their team is realizing, hey, you know, we're not really getting much out of this particular push. And, you know, HilariousLi is still pushing here in mid. He's used his ult, but still pushing mid. So their team maybe not in the best situation right here. Anyway, right there, Incursus is going to use Ash Arrow, and then Mark Owns is going to, in a very confused way, manage to get the kill down there. We did have Igo Elmo teleport into this fight, but he is not going to be able to get us anything else. What was it? We managed to get a kill on Kennen, I think, but that's all. And there's the flash after Elmo and the pull, and that's going to be a kill over there. So a confused series of events, but one of the main things that we did there was we continued to get pushed in mid, and we were able to get a tower. So we're actually ahead in towers now. We have this tower in top and 2 towers in mid. One thing that I haven't talked too much about is Igo Elmo's Udyr. He's been playing the split push Udyr, which is why you haven't seen him too much. Mostly sitting up in top, farming, split pushing. Hold on. Other team does pick up Dragon there. He picked up the Spirit Visage. Good item for that, for split pushing Udyr. Magic resist to help against Kennen. The health, the cooldown reduction, increases the healing effect from Turtle Stance. Very nice. Also has a tier for mana regen, and looks like he's going for either a Frozen Heart or an Iceborne Gauntlet. Either one, I guess, would be viable there. So just split pushing and keeping pressure on the top lane. Oh, and by the way, having Janna on the team, very much what you like to see when you're playing as Udyr, because check out the movement speed when he pops Bear Stance. Yeah, 500 movement speed. We missed something in mid. Let's just go back and check that. We've got a little fight here between K-Hop and HilariousLi. So there's the Q comes out. There is the minefield, and then I get the knock-up on the tornado. And K-Hop's low, but he's been ignited, and down he goes to the ignite right there. K-Hop, I think, was not expecting the amount of damage that HilariousLi was packing. He does have double buff. He has turned his needlessly large rod into a death cap. He is going to flash after Houdini right there. Going after Kennen. There is, let's see, he's going to be able to finish this one off. Going to pop the ult from Kennen. Kennen uses Zanya's, but Zanya's means, yeah. Zanya's means easy target for that Ziggs ultimate. So HilariousLi is going to chase that one down, pick this one up as well. His blue buff has run out, still has red, and going to make his escape before Vayne shows up. Again, keeping pressure on this mid lane, keeping it so their team has to keep dealing with this push in their base, and the push from Elmo, by the way, up here in top lane, who continues to split push with Udyr, and is doing a really nice job of keeping their focus. So even though our bottom lane is really weak, their team is not able to concentrate on that bottom lane because they're constantly having to deal with this pressure in mid and also up here in top lane. Okay, their team is pushing mid. It looks like they're going to get this tower, and there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. Lee, though, has had a chance to go back and buy. He has picked up a Blasting Wand as well. I'm not sure if he's going to turn this into an Abyssal. That would make sense, certainly, given that their team has quite a bit of magic damage on it, so for more Magic Pen. And now up to 392 ability power, which means, yeah, the Mega Inferno Bomb. That's a lot of damage. That's 850 damage. Granted, some of that will be decreased due to magic resist, but that's a lot of damage, and their team, not a lot of MR on, if you look at their items, not much in the way of magic resist on their team as yet. Anyway, so HilariousLi is going to comes in around looking to flank the other team. We're going to initiate with an arrow on the High Legend, so that is going to deal a lot of damage to Vayne. Now, Vayne's going to go into stealth. HilariousLi will go get the kill on to LeBlanc right there, and going to get another kill with the ultimate, and doesn't quite get the triple kill. Incursus will pick up the last hit there, but that's a 3 for 0 and a really nice flank as Lee came down and sort of caught them from the back, and then Elmo came and teleported in. And with 3 of them dead, we immediately start pinging Baron. Decide, you know what, 3 of them are dead, including their 2 main damage dealers. Let's go ahead and try to cash this in for Baron. Now, this is a risky Baron to try. Note that their team has full vision of this. We do not have a pink ward, so they can see us doing Baron. But but unfortunately for them, Hello Tim has gone back to base, so Hecarim is not there. We saw Kennen. We knew Kennen was here, but Kennen does not really have any abilities that are going to allow him to steal that. Not really going to allow him to steal this, and we figured, well, Kennen, if he sticks around, yeah, I mean, that's what can happen. HilariousLi can just toss a bomb over the wall and kill him. So Baron is getting low. It's going to go down, and we are going to be able to pick that up. We do hit the smite, and then Hello Tim is going to get killed there by everyone else. It was a good idea. It was worthwhile to try that. Worthwhile to go in and try to get that, but they come up short. I agree, did have to try. We did not miss the smite, and we were able to claim that. So a risky Baron indeed, but it's now given us a lot of control over this particular match. Now about 4,500 gold up, and in a position where their team went ahead and grabbed the blue over the wall. Gonna try to get that blue with the ultimate, but it doesn't work. K-Hop actually ended up getting that, I believe. Yes, did end up getting it. That said, we do have a lot of gold. Our team wants to go back and spend that gold. See all the 1,000+ numbers sitting here. So we'll go back, we'll spend that gold, and try to turn that into items. Meanwhile, up here, little fight for the red buff. Elmo is going to have to run out of here, but he's Udyr, he'll be fine. Note that all that Vayne autos didn't even break his Turtle Stance shield, as he continues to run around being annoying, as good Udyrs like to do. Still fighting for this. Going to be 1v3. Didn't get the red buff, but as mentioned before, being annoying, and apparently it is worth it. Let's look back at Ziggs once again. Has now finished that Abyssal, so has more magic penetration. Wait. Let's give the... okay, not Magic Pen, has the aura that reduces MR of nearby enemies. Okay, so that doesn't go down as Magic Pen, but does reduce the magic resist. Their team still not much in the way of magic resist. The only item I see that gives magic resist is that null magic on Hecarim. So their team is taking close to true damage from HilariousLi, and he's got just shy of 500 ability power here right now. So yeah, that bomb, if it hits people, Gonna deal a lot of damage if they get hit right in the middle of that. In any case, though, our team needs to group up. We've shoved out the side lanes. Now we want to go on the offensive and start to push lanes. We want to do something while we have this Baron. We've still got about half of it left. So it doesn't really matter too much which lane we go for, but we should go somewhere and look to push while we've got this advantage. We're ahead in gold. We have the Baron buff right there. Going to use Ash Arrow to initiate on Hecarim. We sort of caught Hecarim out, so he's going to fall to Ash. Nice job by Incursus. HilariousLi takes a ton of damage from LeBlanc, but not quite enough to die, and Incursus is going to pick that up on the back end of that. So again, why do you itemize all this MR? Because that way, instead of LeBlanc getting the kill, HilariousLi goes down to like 15% health and survives. And that's the purpose of itemizing all that magic resist. So we go 2 for 0 there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Elmo is still running around being annoying with his Phoenix stance and his, what did he max? So he's maxed Phoenix. He's actually level 18. He maxed Phoenix, Tiger, not fine. He maxed Phoenix, Bear, and Turtle, as expected. That's pretty standard. And then just 3 points in Tiger. So yeah, again, note the attention being drawn to the top. 2 people in top lane. Exactly what you'd expect. So, again, this was not the best use of the time by our team. We really needed to do something while Udyr was up there in top. Needed to do something while Elmo was buying us this time. We didn't really do all that much right now. It's kind of a waste of, So, in part that's because we couldn't really shove out because that bottom lane was too far back. We really probably should have gotten this tower, but in any case, Baron is just about to run out, and although the gold from Baron is nice, we didn't really do much in the way of taking objectives, so that was largely a wasted Baron in the larger picture of things. Okay, anyway, so not much is going on right now, not too much to talk about. I don't see anything too crazy in the realm of items. Oh, it looks like we got a little fight here. There is 1Q, and look how much damage 1Q did to Fallen's Helm. Oh, Fallen tries to pick the fight, but I don't think he should have done that. Gets blown up almost immediately by HilariousLi, who, by the way, goes to 12-1-2 with that particular kill. Quite a Ziggs game here, and just continuing to get even stronger as the match goes on. The 1Q took off, I think, like 500 health. It was like 500 of Fallen's life. Went really low. Meanwhile, split pushing Udyr, still hanging out up here, still split pushing, has a whole sort of a motley collection of items here, but has a Miramana here, continues to push these towers, has the Glacial Shroud, has the Phage, is still pushing this tower as he gets 1v3'd, now has popped Ghost, and is going to continue running around doing Udyr things. Now, while this is going on, the rest of our team needs to do something. We need to take an objective or push something, and we need to do something with this time that Udyr is buying us. Udyr has sucked 3 champions up the top lane and is, 1v3ing them under this tower, so we need to get something here. And, we're pushing this bottom lane, but not nearly as well as we should be. And, High Legend is actually going and shoving mid here and getting some damage here, and then I get condemned into the wall like an idiot. And even though that Ash Arrow is going to hit, and it's a nice Ash Arrow, Fallen's going to flash after me, and he's going to get the kill with the chain. I should have been able to dodge his ethereal chain. So even though Igo Elmo bought us all this time, we're actually getting pushed on here in mid. And that really was not too good. Yes, we're going to get the tower in bottom lane finally, but it wasn't a great usage of our time, and I ended up getting killed because I took a poor approach. And it looks like their team's going to get this mid tower. So overall, it was a bad use of our time, and it was a very inefficient way to play things. So we should have done much, much better there. Anyway, and Elmo is still split pushing up here in top lane, and poor I Am Houdini is just not having a fun time here in this particular matchup, as this Elmo has a ton of farm, 272. Look at all this farm that he's got. And he has great sustain because he's got that Spirit Massage. So there's just not a lot that Kennen can do once Udyr gets to be this strong. He needs help, basically. And every time he needs help, every time they suck people up to the top lane, it gives us the impetus to go and shove mid or shove bottom lane or, do something. All right, let's look back at Ziggs again. Ziggs has picked up another needlessly large rod, so now over 500 ability power. We also picked up a Giant's Belt, and again, that's for survivability. That is to survive against LeBlanc, is the basic idea there. So if LeBlanc jumps in and does her full combo, it's not going to kill us. Anyway, they start chasing after me. Let's go ahead and keep an eye on this fight right here. It's a bit of a confused fight. Elmo was killed up in top lane. That's elsewhere, not part of this fight. It's a bit of a ward battle as we continue to fight. Somehow that Blitzcrank grab goes between everyone, and no one gets killed. And then, wow, over here I missed... Oh, totally missed that. Let's go back for a second. I totally missed the action over here. Let's keep an eye on this right side while I was so busy watching the ward battle. So HilariousLi gets engaged upon by High Legend right there. Oh, he gets condemned into the tower, and that doesn't allow HilariousLi to get out of there. So very nicely done by High Legend. Got the condemn into the tower, and then that crowd control was enough for High to get that kill. So their team, despite being down a good portion of gold, is making a comeback right here. They are able to kill Elmo, the Udyr player, and able to kill HilariousLi, the Ziggs player, and those are the two strongest members of our team. So that is exactly what we did not want to have happen when this Baron buff spawned. That was not a good sign at all. So they are going on Baron. That's the correct call. We're gonna come up here and try to do something, but we don't really have ultimates up, and everybody seems really reluctant to go in, and Mark is gonna flash in there, but it's too late. I'm gonna try to use Janna ult to shove them back, but I get condemned into the wall, so I'm gonna go down. That was an Oracle well bought. Yes, I know they survived death, but the idea was to help us get Baron, and that didn't happen. So 2 more deaths, and they got Baron. That whole sequence is a 4 for 0 and Baron for them. So even though this game was snowballed pretty hard earlier, now they are right back in it. Out comes the Ziggs ult, though, and wow, look at that damage. Holy cow, that did a lot of damage to them. So not only will that clear them off the tower, that's going to stop this push entirely. And that's really important because we need to buy time for our team to revive. So that was a great use of the Ziggs ultimate by HilariousLi. Really did a nice job, not only, as I said, not only of wave clearing that minion wave, but of also knocking all of them down to hell. You saw just how much damage that did. It hit 3 members of their team and did, I don't know, 700 or 800 damage to each one of them. Is their team starting to get magic resistance? Well, they've got they've got the Merc Treads on Hecarim, and Vayne just bought a Quicksilver Sash, so High Legend has picked up that Quicksilver, but it's not a whole lot, and their team really could use a Runic Bulwark, or Aegis into Runic Bulwark coming out from someone, which they don't have. One reason why they don't have that is K-Hop, if you look at what he's done, he's building useful aura items. He's got a Glacial Shroud. It looks like he's building that into a Frozen Heart, and that's a good item on Blitzcrank. But it's, they don't have an Aegis, and they don't have a Runic Bulwark, so that is an item he potentially could have gone for, or that Hecarim could have gone for as well. And I do think that would have helped them if they had that aura of the additional magic resist, just in defending against the damage. Anyway, out goes the bomb, almost enough to slay the dragon, but came out just a touch early. So their team is going to go ahead and take that. And it's still quite a close game, 20-17 in kills. Blue team's a little over 2,000 gold ahead, but it's quite even. It's actually evened up in towers too, 4-4 overall. We need to wait out their Baron. We need to wait for this Baron to, dissipate. They all have Baron. All 5 of them have Baron. And High Legend's Vayne is very much a problem. He is very, very strong. Oops, I didn't mean to slow that down. Let's look at the gold totals for a second. You can see who has the most gold on either team. If you check it out, Vayne is the one who is by far the most dangerous on their team. High Legend's been doing a really nice job with his Vayne. And on our team, the gold is highest on Ziggs, first and foremost, and then secondly on Udyr. And Ashe is starting to get there, but still quite a ways behind Vayne. So anyway, their team is looking to push. We had Elmo pushing out the bottom lane. And Houdini goes back to top. A questionable decision, maybe. Would have been nice. I probably should have all been pushing together as 5. I don't think that top lane really needed it. Our team sees that Kennen's not there. We were like, you know what? This might not be the worst time to pick a fight because they do not have everybody there on the team. So that's what we're going to do. Going to come in and initiate, and we're going to get the arrow. It's on Blitzcrank, which is not great, but better than nothing, and that will set up an easy bomb that's going to allow us to get 1 kill. Now, Elmo's popped his Ghost, and he's running after them. He does have red buff, by the way, so he's going to stun Hecarim, and now we're going to chase after him. Lee has jumped on, so Hello Mark is in the area as well. I'm going to use the Janna slow, and that's going to be a 2nd kill. And now Fallen is back here behind us. We've got a bit of a confused fight where half their team is ahead of us, the other half is behind us. We've got a bit of a confused situation, so just trying to keep an eye on both sides of the fight here. Fallen's clone has been popped, but that's not actually him, that's the clone. Still, we have a huge numbers advantage here. It's 5 on You know, it's 5-on-3. And we did use some of our key ultimates, but, you know, we can keep pushing. We've interrupted Fallen's blue pill. He's actually recalling on a ward. We can see him recalling on that ward. We're like, you know what? This is a great moment to push because they don't have Hecarim and they don't have Blitz. And, you know, we saw that, we saw LeBlanc, and she's low, but they're going to use a nice job of initiating with Cannon ult. I will shove him back, but it's already a little bit too late. And then a great pull onto HilariousLi. He is going to get bursted down. He gets off a nice use of the Ziggs ultimate before he dies, but their team has so many people that are extremely low, none of them dead. High Legend is now chasing. Fortunately, it's Udyr and Janna, two of the best at escaping in the game. We got a ton of them low, but didn't actually kill anyone, and that turns into a 3-for-0 in favor of their team. Looks like we stuck around just a touch too long, and they did a nice job of initiating on us in that particular fight. So now their team has the power play. This is one reason why people like League of Legends. It can swing quickly, and the game is really tightened back up again. It's back to like 1,000 gold lead, very, very close, and their team now has a 5-on-2. So we're trying to buy time right now, just trying to hold this tower, trying to keep the inhib up. It just stall until people can revive on our team. That's the basic idea. Now we obviously can't fight 2v5 or tower no. We're going to get cleaned up, but now Mark is back in. He's going to get here. I'm just extending the life of this tower by shielding it with Janet's shield. Now HilariousLi's back, and Incursus is about to respawn as well. So now we've got all 5 members back, and we're going to look to try and initiate something right here. Here comes the Ashe ult, and it's a really nice one. Out comes the bomb. Hits 3 members of their team. They're going on HilariousLi, but he will satchel charge his way back out of there. Now we managed to get the tornado, knocks up K-Hop. He will go down as well. High Legend is at the back of the fight, going to get hit by Ashe slow. Is High Legend going to be able to escape? Hecarim ult used defensively, probably should have come out earlier in the fight. Down here, Fallen's trying to escape, but Igo Elmo is on the case. Fallen's blinking back and forth over walls. There goes the distortion again, but now he's going to jump back over the wall again, but going to get shut down by HilariousLi. I think Fallen jumped over that wall like 3 times, but it's not enough. We go 3-for-0, and the game is swung again in the fashion that people enjoy watching this. So it's just back and forth. I mean, I guess we both should have been playing safer on either side. Their team did not get this inhib. It went down to about 20% health, but they didn't get it, and now we're going to look to take this inhib, and the game has swung back in our favor in the opposite direction. Great use of the Ashe arrow to initiate there. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted everyone to revive and then to initiate a fight, and we're able to do that with the Ashe arrow. Their team's in a little bit of trouble down here, but it looks like they'll be able to escape it. Initiated with the Ashe arrow, that immediately set up the Ziggs bomb from HilariousLi. He hit, I think, 3 members of the other team with it. Elmo ran in. He's very, very tanky right now on this Udyr build. Very, very tanky. With the Muramana, Frozen Heart, Spirit Massage, Phage. Very, very... Now he's got a Trinity. Holy cow. This is a terrifying Udyr. If he gets this much farm, you are in serious trouble. 530 movement speed. And, yeah, 199 armor, 142 MR. Just a really, really scary... What is it? Man, Tiger, Bear, Phoenix, whatever. And of course has the graphical effects too, with the nice new skin, of course. I'm not a huge fan of this skin, by the way. I mean, it's nice and all, but it's basically Primal Udyr with a little bit fancier graphical effects. Not a huge fan. Would have liked to see something different. Anyway, though, so Baron is back up, and we've got a core fight coming up over Baron. So whoever can get this Baron will have the next advantage in, you know, this constant process of going back and forth. We've got it pinked. We have sort of the positional advantage right here. Elmo does have his teleport up. He's going down the bottom lane, but of course he can teleport into this fight. And right now it's a bit of a poke war as we go back and forth. We keep clearing their wards. They keep jumping on us. Right there, nice little harass coming out from Fallen, but was not able to, didn't use his ult, not able to kill our Ashe player. They're going to look to initiate. They just popped the Shurelya's right there. So we're going to try to get out of this. A nice disengage with the satchel charge. Really well done. Right there, Hecarim's going to try to come in. I'm going to shove him back with Janna ult. We're going to get a kill there. We whiff on the Ashe arrow. It's a nice cannon ult. Locks us up. HilariousLi's going to pop his Zanyas though, and he's going to get a kill onto LeBlanc. And that fight ends up going really well because they do get Ashe, but they don't get anyone else. And okay, up, you're recalling on a ward. Are we going to be able to get this kill? Not sure if we're going to be able to or not. But meanwhile, while this is going on, Elmo was in bottom the entire time. He's been pushing. Oh, we did get that kill. Wait, we got to go back and watch that. Where did we actually get the kill on the Blitzcrank. Sorry, we got to watch this. I couldn't remember if we had gotten that kill or not. So K-Hop runs out. It's like, okay, he's safe. K-Hop is not going to die. Oh, but he turns around, and then the flash Q. Oh, the flash Q from HilariousLi. Very, very nice. Anyway, the point is, while all that was going on, Elmo stayed in bot. He never teleported into the fight. So that was a 5v4 in their team's favor, but they were not able to win that one. I think we did a really good job of disengaging from that fight. A beautiful satchel charge knocked them back from HilariousLi in that fight. And then it was a pretty good use of some of Janna's disengaged stuff too. So we just basically kited them backwards, and we were able to win the fight. Got a tower in, well, almost got a tower in bottom lane. Elmo is still running around doing Udyr stuff. Got a tower in top. Took Baron. We have Baron on. Do we have Baron on Ashe? Let's see. No, we don't. Okay, so everybody other than Ashe has Baron, and that whole sequence just went marvelously well from us. So what was a really close game, very close. It was like 1,000 or 2,000 gold. Going 4 for 1, taking Baron, taking an inhib tower, has swung this game highly in our favor. So now we're up to a 9k gold lead, and it tosses out the Ziggs ultimate to help kill Dragon. Why not? It's on a pretty short cooldown. It's only on a 45-second cooldown. Well, what is it? It's a 54-second cooldown, not too shabby. 800 ability power now on HilariousLi with the Baron buff. So if you look at his full build here, got Zanya's, Ryali's, Abyssal Scepter, Unholy Grail, and Death Cap to go with the Sork Shoes. That is a lot of ability power, and that Inferno Bomb, wow. I mean, you see how much damage that deals. 769. Why did this ability power go down? It was over higher than that a second ago. Does somebody have a Woda on our team? Oh, that's weird. Oh, his blue pot must have run out. Okay. But yeah, you get the point. So he deals well over 1,000 damage with his ult. If he can land the skill shot. That is a lot of damage. Anyway, we'll do the same thing we did before. Elmo is still running around off on an island by himself. The split pushing Udyr. Run around, never die. The rest of us will be up here in top lane, and we'll just force them to deal with us. Because again, High Legend is by far their strongest member on their team, and High can only be on one place at a time. So Vayne can be here stopping Udyr, or Vayne can be here stopping us. But Vayne can't be in both places at the same time. And that's why this is sort of a good setup for our team. Anyway, Ashe, by the way, Ashe has gotten very strong as well. Ashe is on a 5-item build herself right there. So Incursus is also strong. Not as strong as High Legend, but still quite strong. So, continue to push, and again, there's an inhib down, so mid lane is pushing on its own. Continuing to get pressure on this inhib, we have Baron, and there's not a whole lot that their team can do. They're basically in an impossible situation. They have to force a fight and somehow win it. They're going to initiate. The Ashe arrow just blows up poor Fallen Asylum immediately. Out goes the Ziggs ult, deals pretty good damage. Kennen ult comes out. Will it be enough? Elmo runs in. Now, hello, Tim getting focused. Everyone has fallen except for K-Hop, and the Nexus towers are in the process of going down as well. And that's going to be it for this one. A valiant defense and a great game, but not enough for them to pull this one out. In the end, 18-3-8 Ziggs game. Really, really nicely played by HilariousLi. Really, HilariousLi and Elmo carried us. I didn't show Elmo as much because Elmo was off split pushing the whole game, but just a marvelous Udyr game as well. He put so much pressure on the map by constantly split pushing with teleport. This is a build I'm going to look probably to steal if I had to top lane. Just an Udyr who split pushes with teleport and is just super annoying for the other team. Here's the gold totals if you see. Those two had the most. But Ashe, not bad as well. Rough laning phase for Incursus. The two of us got behind early, and K-Hop really abused us in bottom lane, but did a nice job after that. And on their team, High Legend was fantastic in this game. 17k gold was absolutely terrifying. 7-3-5 in a losing effort. Anyway, that was the best game from our YouTube night. It was very entertaining. I hope people enjoyed watching it. Hope people enjoyed a chance to watch some gameplay from Ziggs and other champs. Until next time, have a great week. See you guys later. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.